What if I told you that the way you speak to your child could either completely shut down communication or it could open the door wide open for discovery? I'm Angela. This is Amber. We're RDI Consultants here at Ausome Match Autism Services. Today we're going to be talking a little bit about declarative language.
So what is declarative language? Declarative language is a way of communicating without the use of imperative language. It's not giving a command, it's opening the door for connection. It's in the way we say it, how we say it.
Okay, and so imperative language is more direct. You're expecting an answer, a response, something. It's very kind of black and white. So you hear the difference between put your shoes on now.
I wonder how fast we can race to get our shoes on.
So that's the difference between the two, imperative and declarative.
Imperative is expecting an outcome, whether that be a verbal outcome, an action. It is expecting a response from what you're saying. Go put your shoes on. Go brush your teeth and get ready for bed. Go put your dishes in the sink.
Right.
A declarative language is a statement, an I'm noticing statement. It's using I wonder, I notice, I see, I feel.
It's a way to share experience, emotion. You are trying to share the world around with your child. So most families, most parents, I know I was one before I learned about declarative language, I thought the best way to communicate with my child was to ask questions. And as a mother, when you start hearing your child talk, you want to keep hearing their words. You want to keep absolutely everything you can to be able to hear their voice. And so what do? Around the age of about 2, when they start exploring language a bit more for neurotypical kids, we start asking them questions. What color is the alligator? You're expecting, there's only one response. It's a green alligator. And so we start asking these questions to our kiddos. When they're babies, we naturally use declarative language. We start narrating. We start just talking about what we're doing in the day, because we're not expecting our 5-month-old baby to just strike up a conversation with us. Mm-hmm. So we do a lot of narrating. Mommy's now brushing my hair. We continue doing this until children start to kind of develop a bit more language. We all do it. We all turn to imperative language.
Imperative is quick. It's that's the thing you first go to. Oh, how was your day at school? What did you do? How was your friends? What did your friends? What did you and your friends play with at school? Go put your dishes in the sink, like what I said earlier. It is just constant language and constant looking for some sort of response from your child. When honestly, when I went to school and I got home, I appreciated that my mom took an interest in my life.
Right.
Hey, how was school? At that point, I'm tired. I have been around so much volume and just demands and routines of the day from school. I would just say, it's good.
It's fine. It was fine.
Good. And my mom would be like, so what'd you do? Like, how was it? Work. Yeah. And then I'd go to my room and I'd just kind of decompress. But for a lot of kiddos or people on the spectrum, like, that is just so overwhelming. Yeah. I can only imagine, because when I would come home from school, I would just want to be in the comfort of my own home, peace and quiet. Maybe when I'm feeling ready later, when we come down for dinner, I will be more open to having these conversations when I'm feeling ready, and it's not so much of like a, hey, how's it going? How are you?
Well, and the same could be said with using declarative language. If your child is coming home from school and even using declarative language on them right away, maybe not the best approach, because like you said, they just need that time to unwind, to regulate. They've had a lot of demands placed on them. So you can just, even if you do declarative language, you may not get that response, and that's okay. That is the great thing with declarative language.
Declarative language, you cannot expect a certain outcome from what you're saying. Declarative language is, that connection, those I notice statements, hoping that your child will come into this experience with you. But you cannot go into it already expecting some sort of response.
Right.
That's just not, you're going to be left disappointed, and your kiddo is going to be left confused and overwhelmed.
Right. So with back to school starting, one of the things I'm sure I have used, most parents will say, and like you said, how was your day? And that's the number one things parents will say to their kids after their day at school. So we want to try to find a way to rephrase that into a declarative. So one of the ways you could say is, it looked like you had a very busy day at school. Maybe they came home with their backpack full of artwork and library books and all their tours. You could say, I noticed you had a very busy day at school today. And what that does is that opens the door for them to say, yeah, I went to the library and I got to pick out 2 books and then we did artwork. It's allowing them to contribute to the conversation what they want to contribute.
And sometimes that might be nothing, but they still receive that input. They still notice that you care and you took an interest in their life, and they will probably appreciate it in their own way. But if they don't respond verbally or in any sort of reaction, that's okay.
Yeah.
That's that you allowed them to notice what you're saying, receive that input, and just be. Just respond how you wish. Another example could be, I noticed when you came home from school today, you looked quite tired. Maybe it was an overwhelming day.
And that's such a good way to connect with them, because you can say, I noticed that you looked a little tired after school today. I had a really tough day too. And you can start telling them about your day. So you're modeling how to communicate. You say, my day was tough because blah, 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 blah. And so you're giving them the tools on how they can use the same language.
So listen, it's not going to feel natural. It's going to be a little awkward at first, especially if, you see your kiddo come off the bus and coming in through the door and you're wanting to say, how was your day at school? Like, I missed you. Just taking that moment to pause and reflect. See what kind of language you can come up with. I notice, I wonder, I feel. It's not going to, you don't need to respond so quickly. It's patience, it's practice. It's not like what I've mentioned in other videos. It's not like riding a bike where you can hop back on 20 years later and you're good to go without the training wheels. Declarative language is like a second language. You need to practice.
Yeah.
It takes practice, and practice improves. It's not going to make perfect. No. There's still moments when I'm working with kiddos.
Definitely.
Where Jimmy John Jay runs off and I'm like, wait, come back. Just take a moment. He's okay. I can take a moment. I can be like, once I catch up with him, when you left, like, that really made me nervous. I felt anxious because I didn't know where you went.
Right.
It's just an I noticed statement. That it's sharing how I felt in that moment, where maybe next time they can think, before I run off, I'm just going to let Amber know. That's a good step. I'm leaving.
I remember when I first started my declarative language journey, and I started trying to use declarative language, and I'm learning, and I remember I would start in an imperative and then I'd stop myself and then think about it and then rephrase it. And you know what? At the time, I'm like, oh my gosh, I feel like I'm making this 10 times worse. But what I was doing was I was actually allowing my son that processing time that he needed. So the time,
that's huge.
Yeah, the time that it takes you to rephrase those sentences actually works for your kiddos, because they're taking that time to process what you're previously saying, maybe.
Everyone's processing speed is different, and your kiddos is likely not going to be the same as yours. And when you're expecting these immediate outcomes, or you were using this declarative language statement, and deep down you're disappointed that they didn't notice or react in the way that you were maybe hoping for, it takes practice, it takes patience, and it's a processing time. If you're saying, I noticed you maybe had a tough day at school, I'm wondering how I can help you with that. That's 20 words? And say your kiddo's processing speed is 10 seconds. That's going to take a while.
Yeah.
So you need to meet the child where they're at. If language is a barrier, which it is for a lot of kiddos, let's keep it short and sweet.
Yeah.
Or slow it down. I noticed you looked really tired after school.
And like you said earlier, being okay with whatever the response is. I know for myself, my own experience, I felt like a lot of time I was talking to a brick wall.
That's it's a common feeling.
Yeah, you're using declarative and you're not getting a response back. Using declarative, not getting a response. And I just had to take that deep breath and say, okay, that's okay.
I feel like a lot of kiddos also are expecting that demand. because
Yes.
because so that when you shift from an imperative statement, go put your shoes on, and they're doing the motions of the command. They don't really, I mean, I know from a personal experience, I would ask my kiddo, hey, let's go wash our hands. And he's going and he's washing his hands with the motions because his hands are full of peanut butter. Little does he actually understand why he's washing his hands.
Right.
So when they're so used to these imperative language statements, oh, go do this, go do that, go wash your hands, go put your shoes on, and then you switch and you're starting to practice this other language, this declarative language, I notice statements, it might be a little confusing for your kiddo too, and they may not be just used to following through with these or understanding that you are eventually hoping for some sort of connection together.
I've had this exact situation happen with my kiddo where I was using declarative language after years and years of giving demands essentially and telling him exactly what to do, to the point where I would say something like, oh, we're going to be having lunch soon. I'm going to wash my hands. And then I'd wait. And then he'd look at me like, just sit there.
Okay, good for you. Yeah.
And then he's like, tell me what you want me to do. He would get so upset. And because I have already established me telling him what to do. And I would just say, oh, there's nothing for you to do. I was just saying that I was going to go wash my hand because, we're going to be having lunch soon.
You're welcome to join me.
Yeah, exactly. So it took a bit, and then eventually he's like, should I wash my hands? Oh, that might be a great idea since you don't want to eat lunch with dirty hands. So it took time. At first, it dysregulated him because he was so used to me speaking to him in a certain way, and this changed the dynamic. And so it took a little bit of time. So don't be afraid if your child all of a sudden is like, what is happening? You're changing things. I don't like this. Change is scary.
Change is scary. It's unpredictable.
And then you can just say, hey, I'm not putting any demand on you, bud. This is for you to decide.
Absolutely. This really helps with kiddos with PDA profiles as well, which we have another video you're welcome to
check
go
it
watch.
Out. Yeah. It is very detailed. It's great.
We talk a little bit about declarative language in there as well, but this declarative language really helps kiddos in that fight, flight, freeze, fawn sort of response to the threat of their autonomy, feeling of their safety, but it's definitely really helpful for those kiddos as well. Yeah. But we have two sort of declarative language like ways of presenting situations. We have for communication and connection, which is what we just talked about. How was your day? Things like that, where you're hoping for a verbal response.
Something to connect together.
Yeah, we're shifting to connection. The second one for declarative language is from imperatives that are expecting an actionable. Go put your shoes on, go brush your teeth, go put the dishes in the dishwasher.
Right.
Where you are expecting something, whether that be because we are on a time restraint,
right,
or we got to clean up after ourselves. So we have sort of a second part of why declarative language is so helpful.
And before we get into the actionables, I really want to stress that sometimes there is a need for imperative. There is a need for a direct statement.
Absolutely.
Like, no, stop. Especially when somebody's safety is in jeopardy.
If the kiddo is at risk of harming themselves or somebody else, declaratives are out the window. It's an immediate action.
Right.
Yeah.
We don't always need to try to live by 100% using declaratives. We genuinely, starting off, you want to look at maybe like 80-20, like that's a good rule of thumb. But even getting to 80-20 is it's tough. It takes a long time to be able to kind of process and how you can rejig these statements into declarative.
Absolutely. I think before we get into sort of how to do these for these actionables, it's important to also notice, like, by giving can you statements, unless you're okay with the can you resulting in the kiddo saying no, don't ask it.
Yeah.
It is, declarative language is meant to be helpful for both you and the kiddo. It's not meant to end in you being dysregulated or upset or frustrated because your kiddo did not do what you said. your kiddo's not to be frustrated because they were given a demand that threats their autonomy, they're feeling unsafe, they're going into those like fight, flight, freeze, fawn responses. Can you? It sounds pretty, it's cute, it sounds nice, you know, well, can you do this? But if you're really expecting them to say yes,
and they say no,
respect that.
Yeah.
You asked. That's a really tricky one because naturally I'll say, oh, can you go put your toys away?
No.
No thanks.
Kind of shot myself in the foot there.
The best stepping stone from can you is let's. And now let's is sort of that gray area between an imperative and a declarative.
It's a good stepping stone.
Yes, it's that gray area where a let's statement, let's go put your toys away. It is a demand in a sense, but it's also you're sharing the responsibility. Let's is implying that we're going to do this together. Let's go clean up those toys. You're sharing that responsibility. You're sharing that demand so that you two can both go and do this action together in a co-regulated state. Oh, let's go put the toys away. Let's go see if mom's at the door. Let's go get our shoes on for school. If the declarative is, oh, I wonder or I notice, maybe your kiddo isn't at that stage yet where maybe they are feeling confused because of all from imperative to a declarative, and it's like, just tell me what to do. You can even go back a step and go, let's do this together. That's a good sort of point where we can do this activity together in a mutual shared responsibility.
Yeah, no, that's a great point. It's a good stepping stone, especially when you have maybe used a lot of imperatives at first, then switching it to let's do this together kind of thing. So that's great.
Yeah.
So we have a fun activity where Amber's going to put me on the spot, and we're going to see. Now, I'm going to show that it's still tough to rephrase language from imperative to declarative. Okay, so what I have is a declarative language starter sheet. So on here I have some things that just kind of help guide me into making declarative statements. I notice, I wonder, it looks like, I'm thinking about, that reminds me of, I feel, I'm not sure, but this makes me think of, I can tell, and sometimes. So these are all good starters. So Amber's going to give me a imperative, and I'm going to try restate it as a declarative statement.
Let's do it. Okay. Let's do a classic. Go clean up your toys.
It looks like there's toys all over the floor. I would really hate if someone tripped on them. And now, I could say that, and maybe they're going to look at me and go, okay, cool. I want to give them some processing time so that I know that they've maybe heard what I'm actually saying, processing.
Allow them to notice for themselves. Maybe they'll glance over at the toys.
And then they might look and they might start doing it. They might say, oh, maybe we should clean up. Maybe they'll not say anything and go back to whatever it is that they're doing. Then I can try again. Maybe I can say, I'm thinking about cleaning up the toys. Should we try together?
Yeah, I think that's great. I think also kids love games and love making things fun. So we could even say, I wonder how many toys we can put into the bin in 10 seconds. Yeah. Or I wonder how many toys I can put in before you. I think you'll win, but it could be me.
I love that because, hey, who doesn't love a good competition?
You're creating a positive memory bank experience at that point. You're making it a fun game. Well, let's see if, we've got a bunch of Lego or balls or whatever it is on the floor. Let's see if we can toss them into the bin. Let's see, make it a target.
Yeah,
make it something
exactly.
fun.
Okay, come at me with another one.
All right. It's time for bed. Go brush your teeth.
I feel like we're going to be going to bed soon, so I'm going to get into my pajamas and go brush my teeth so that I'm ready for bed. Again, they might take that, they might not. So then you might have to restate and say, let's go upstairs and get in our jammies and cuddle before bed.
And cuddle before we go brush our teeth.
Or brush our teeth, yes. We want to make sure.
And with declarative language, it can help to pair it with a visual, like kiddos on the spectrum. Language is hard enough as it is. Pairing it with something with a visual timer, pictures, a routine, a bedtime kind of schedule, something like that so they can see what this declarative language is referring to Declarative language is great on its own, but paired with something is so much better.
Right.
It's helping this sort of shared connection and shared idea. Oh yeah, I'm wondering if we should brush our teeth now or in 5 minutes, and you're pointing to a picture of the toothbrush on the wall.
Yeah, we love a good visual.
Yes.
Okay, give me one more.
Finish your dinner.
Ooh, that's a little heated. I notice you still have quite a bit of food on your plate. I wonder if your tummy is full. So when it comes to food, that can also be a very heated situation. As we know, a lot of our kiddos on the spectrum may have food sensitivities, or food is just a very, very touchy subject, especially for parents, because you spend all this time making the food and they don't eat it. So I would encourage you to be mindful about how you're approaching any topic of food, and using declarative and being okay with the response. If they say that, yeah, my tummy's full, respect that.
Yeah, I think creating those positive memory bank experiences where maybe in the future they can say, I don't like this food, or maybe my tummy's upset, or my tummy's full, but I would rather have cake, like it's opening up that door for that positive memory bank experience of feeling like they're not going to get in trouble if they don't finish their dinner. Yeah. So going into dinner, they're already thinking of this negative memory bank experience. Using declaratives helps make that a neutral or a positive. Yeah.
So Amber, I have one for you now. Okay, ready?
I noticed you seem quite frustrated. I'm here for you. I'm sorry that you're feeling upset. Let's sit in this moment. Let's go silent. I'm here for you. I understand you're feeling frustrated, and I'm here to support you. But next time, let's not throw toys.
That was a perfect way of handling it. So
you don't want having the child
take him back.
Declarative language is supposed to support connection. You're not going about it in a way that's willy-nilly, okay, well, my understanding is the child has free reign. I don't ever want to dysregulate my child. No, that's not what we're saying. Yeah. We're saying we want this to be a neutral or a positive memory bank experience where the child feels like they can respond in a way that they feel comfortable in doing so, but that doesn't mean to squash all boundaries and everything is free game. If your child is doing something like, say, throwing a stuffy or is showing, becoming reactive in a way that is potentially harmful. And I'm not saying that this is, this is right. Exactly how it's going to go, but having those boundaries, you are not going to give a rational thought to an irrational child. You want to be in that moment, co-regulate with them. We also have a video on co-regulation, so go check it out if you haven't already. Once they're in that more co-regulated state and they are receptive to hearing more verbal language and being in this moment with you, then you want to lay that boundary back down and give that predictability. Hey, I understand we're feeling frustrated. I understand we're upset. It's not okay to hit.
Yeah.
Next time, if we throw that, I would hate to have to take the stuffy away. I want to be here with you.
Yeah.
And you can even bring the child in. I wonder next time we're feeling frustrated, how we can come out of that together. What do you need? I'm wondering what you need. Maybe we need to take some deep breaths together. You can come up with this sort of, co-regulation process together. Okay, Next time I'm feeling like I want to throw something at Amber, I can take some deep breaths. Declarative language is helpful in all different types of really situations. Having patience and being mindful of it and just constantly just being mindful of how you are communicating with your child.
I find declarative language also works really well with adults. Sometimes when we're constantly putting demands on spouses or even friends or family, like if you kind of reword it in a way that it's kind of their decision to do it, then it can work for you.
You're giving them their autonomy.
Yeah.
And I would say the same with teens. Of course, you're not going to say, it looks like you had a really hard day at school. Your teen is probably going to look at you like, okay, yeah, can you tone it down a little bit maybe? But you can approach it in a different way, like, oh, hey, like it looks like you had a hard day at school today. I just want to let you know I'm here for you. Yeah. When you're ready, I'm here. Just having that, meet them where they're at. If it's a child, maybe use more, facial expression, calm, the way that the tone that you're having. And
the tone is a huge one.
Tone is huge. Yeah. And with a teen, you're going to do that differently. It's going to look differently. Same with your spouse, adult, friend, whatever that may look like. You're not going to present in a way, I'm wondering if we can put that dish you left in the dishwasher.
So the take home for today is when you're communicating with your child, I encourage you to just slightly change things up. I wonder, just try to change the words a little bit to see if you can make a declarative statement. Have one ready to go. Instead of saying, how was your day? You can say, today I had a really great day going on a walk. I wonder what your favorite part of the day was. It just opens up that dialogue to connect and to communicate with genuine communication.
Absolutely. I think that's a great takeaway, take home today. Also, if you're looking for more resources, maybe you are a bookworm and you love to read, we have the Declarative Language Handbook. This you can find on Amazon for $10. It's like 120 pages. It's a really easy read. It is directed more for younger kiddos. However, you can extrapolate this and use it in so many different ways. It has truly helped so much. So many things I've highlighted in this book.
My book is all marked up.
Absolutely recommend. Definitely give it a shot if you are looking for more tips, tricks, pointers, examples. Right in here. Yeah,
definitely recommend taking a look. Linda Murphy is a speech language pathologist, very, very knowledgeable. She actually is also an RDI consultant. So I highly, highly recommend taking a look at her book. She also does multiple podcasts. So if podcasts are more your thing, as you're here,
you're watching it with us,
take a look online. She has her Declarative Language Handbook website. Worth taking a look into.
And if you've watched our co-regulation video, then she also has the co-regulation handbook as well.
Right.
So there's a couple resources here for you to take. If you haven't taken a look at our video for co-regulation, go check it out now. And then, take a look on Amazon.
Okay. That's all for today, guys. Thanks.
See ya.
Bye.